This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Friday, August the 3rd. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, Barbadians have been assured that Part 2 of government's planned fiscal measures will not be imposed on them in one fell swoop. Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Cleverston Haynes, told a press conference yesterday that having already introduced revenue collection measures in government's June budget, the next step would be a program of expenditure cutting in phases. Haynes said the revenue and expenditure reforms are aimed at yielding a 6% surplus.
And these are the areas which are currently being discussed and formulated. And, I'm sure that in the not too distant future, you are going to hear what the government intends to do as it relates to expenditure reforms that will enable it to achieve these goals. These are things that are likely to be phased. They're not necessarily that you're going to wake up one morning and all of it takes place. There will probably be a phasing of the measures, but at the end of the day, we need to cut the overall size of the deficit, because cutting the deficit enables you to reduce that borrowing requirement.
The central bank governor, who fielded questions immediately following the delivery of his economic review for the first half of the year, also indicated that Barbadians may feel they are being overtaxed as they might not be getting the value for money within the public service.
But it's the quality of the services which those taxes provide that really determine your perspective of whether or not you think you're overtaxed. What we would want to see is that the quality of our services are such that we feel comfortable with those services that we get. So that if you go, we often have the complaint, let's say when we go to our hospital, that you don't have maybe long waits in accident emergency. That's the quality of service. Now, if you have that quality of service, it's probably something that you're willing to pay for. Okay? The problem arises if you feel you're not getting the quality of service, and that's what we have to address.
In other news now, an apparent war of words is developing between General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, and former Minister of Commerce, Donville Innes, on the backdrop of Innes's recent calls for the resignations of Moore and President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell. The BWU boss fired back yesterday by suggesting that Innes lost the moral authority to reprimand her when he was rejected so overwhelmingly by the electorate in the May 24th general elections. Attorney General Dale Marshall is warning that Barbados could be decimated by an outbreak of a major disease. Marshall told a forum on biosecurity at the University of the West Indies Cave campus yesterday that such an outbreak is one of the major threats faced by this country and the rest of the region.
A biosecurity failure in one island could result in catastrophic problems in neighboring islands, especially when natural ecological barriers do not protect shared terrestrial boundaries. And therefore, national coordination and mutual support are critical elements in addressing biosecurity, as a failure to do so could result in severe economic consequences.
The Food and Agriculture Organization defines biosecurity as a suite of preventive measures taken to protect against the spread of harmful organisms and disease.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. The lawyer for former Guyana Public Service Minister Jennifer Westward and her personal assistant has asked the Magistrates Court to dismiss the $600 million fraud case against his clients. He has therefore made a no-case submission. Javon Vickery reports.
Attorney-at-law Dexter Todd, representing the interests of former Public Service Minister Jennifer Westford and her assistant Margaret Cummings, told the court that there is no solid evidence to incriminate his clients. Todd, during his lengthy no-case submission before presiding magistrate Judy Latchman, argued that among the dozens of witnesses who testified in the trial, no one was able to definitively state that his two clients were directly involved with the offenses outlined in the charges. The two women are jointly charged with the misappropriation of over $600 million from the state. The attorney further noted that in examining the case, the prosecution was also unable to prove that Cummings had been the signatory to the transactions under scrutiny.
And on the international scene, the Pope has shifted the Catholic Church's stance on the death penalty, labeling it inadmissible in all cases. The rest of the story in this Euronews report.
The Church had previously allowed the death penalty in exceptional circumstances. The Vatican said the latest change to the Universal Catechism reflects Pope Francis's total opposition to capital punishment.
Well, what happened today is that the Catechism of the Catholic Church changes on the death penalty. If it had been justified in very limited cases, the word being used now is it is inadmissible.
Pope Francis has spoken out against executions in the past. The commandment, do not kill, is absolute and applies to both the innocent and the guilty. Even criminals have the inviolable right to life, a gift from God. The Church said it's working to abolish the death penalty worldwide.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.